I'm Candace.
And I'm Ripley.
And I'm John again.
You're John again? I'll keep that in mind.
John again. And this is Comicsplaining.
The show where the Odin sword is on our DNI list.
And you have no idea what Ripley has sacrificed.
You have no idea. I gave up my comfy chair so all three of us could actually fit in our recording space, and John didn't have to sit way in the back. My parents got me for Christmas, I said I wanted a desk chair, and they got me this ridiculously huge lazy boy chair that is the comfiest thing in the world, but anytime we have to cram three of us in here, it's like me over here with like armrests and everything jammed against
on your fucking kingly throne.
Well, Candace and John are just shoved into one another at best case scenario.
We are the peasants.
We're beholden unto you.
Yes, you may perform a podcast for my entertainment. Beep, beep.
Well, I mean...
Pip, do the king say pip, pip?
I mean...
Pip, pip, cheerio.
This is about to perform a podcast for Ripley, and therefore, Ripley has decreed.
You can't perform it for me, I don't have my throne.
Oh, I'll just do it for myself then.
Okay, that's cool. What have we got today?
Self-actualization.
That's what we have.
I can't believe you fucking... Oh god, what's it called? The Secret!
The Secret?
It's the secret for making me miserable.
Yeah.
No, self-actualization is a thing. That's actually a thing.
I'm putting out what I want in the
world.
world.
Do you not know what the secret is?
And what I want in the world is for Ripley not to have a comfy chair.
I made my vision board. I meditated on it. I put the energy into the universe.
Okay, but look, self-actualization is a thing without the secret. You know that, right?
I don't know what you're talking about. Perfect. Excellent.
So anyway, let's read Thor number 156.
We read Thor on this?
We do. It's from July of 1968, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Colletta, and lettered by Sam Rosen. So can you guys tell me what happened last time?
So the Mangog. So, Ulik of Metal Pounders fame was falling down a hole that he got thrown down, I think by Thor, but maybe by Karnilla. I'm not 100% sure. Doesn't matter, because at the end of the day, he was thrown down a hole.
And I thought I had trouble remembering what happened in X-Men.
Well, in the fucking hole, he found a cave with glowing rocks, and...
As you do.
The rocks, the seed of Odin's power.
Yep, Odin's seed.
Odin's seed.
Oh, God.
And underneath Odin's seed was the last survivor of a race, only he was not the last survivor of a race, except maybe he was.
But he might have been manufactured.
But he might have been a robot. Not clear.
No one said anything about him being a robot.
Well, maybe he was a genetically engineered guy. I don't fucking know what these aliens were up to.
Who knows? He might be
They were really warlike aliens, by the way. They were, like, invading everywhere, and they tried to invade Asgard, and Odin was like, nah. Somewhere in here, Karnilla set her harem on Baldur.
I mean, I did look up the Mangog, and even the Wikipedia says it's unclear what he is. So,
yeah.
It's been 60 years.
Well,
they've never clarified.
No, it's gone back and forth.
The Mangog took Ulik of Metal Pounders fame as his humble servant.
Except Ulik immediately ran away.
Except Ulik ran away and didn't do shit.
Great minion, guys.
And then he continued on his way to Asgard, and Thor did some shit.
Thor was on Earth this entire time.
Yeah, Thor was on Earth. He showed up at Asgard at the end of it. What was he doing on Earth? Because I remember what he did when he got back to Asgard, but what was he doing on Earth?
Being there, mostly. Well, he
checked up on Sif. I remember that.
He was fighting Loki. That was not last episode. That was the episode before.
I remember that.
He was fighting Loki, and then Odin was like, stop fighting.
Right.
And then Thor was just kind of there waiting for news, basically.
And Loki went back to Asgard.
And took over.
Asgard.
What, John?
I just need you to know that Odin tells Thor and Loki to stop fighting. Do you have any idea how often that happens?
I think so. I can imagine the number of times he's said, "Don't make me turn this car around."
So Loki took over Asgard.
Yep, and so Thor came back to Asgard at some point. He rainbowed him and Sif back off to Asgard.
Yep.
And so they showed up, and Odin is in the fucking Odin sleep, because of fucking course he is.
Because welcome to Thor 1.
Loki has taken over because there is no one fucking in charge.
You see, Odin being in the Odin sleep in Thor 1 has some very clear basis.
That's what I said at the time, even as I recall. I was being like, this seems like Thor took some heavy reference from this.
We've watched this movie.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, Odin goes to sleep and Loki takes over the throne. Yep.
Well, Loki sent the Warriors 3 off to die because they're fucking stupid.
Why did he need to do that?
Because he was being a petty bitch.
Because they're friends of Thor, so they have to go.
Because he was being a petty
Because if they
bitch.
stayed around, they would oppose Loki.
They were being a petty bitch.
Yes.
That's fair.
And so Thor was like, fuck you, you're an idiot, and you shouldn't be in charge, but I'm gonna go deal with this fucking Mangog situation.
Because you are the king, and...
Well,
Thor
I don't think it's
do it either way.
I don't think it's because he's the king, I think it's because the Mangog needs ass kicking.
Is that?
And because Thor doesn't want all of his people to die.
Exactly.
And the universe to end.
Exactly.
What?
The
Thor doesn't want
Mangog
the universe to end.
needs some ass kicking, and Thor is here to dish it out in spades. He finds the Warriors 3 inside of a rock, because I guess they just ended up there. There are a lot of warriors who are just running away like you have no idea what you're getting into. The Mangog is so powerful. And then I think at the end of the issue, he ran into the Mangog, but they didn't fight yet.
Yeah, that's what happened. Good job. You remembered so much.
Yeah.
I'm so proud of you.
I did much better than last time.
You remembered more than I thought you were going to remember. The Hammer and the Holocaust.
We've seen this title before.
That's one of the titles that they use over and over and over and over. Holocaust referring to just general kind of a bad situation.
No,
specific Holocaust.
Not the Holocaust.
Not capital H Holocaust,
I know
lowercase h.
But I'm pretty sure Stan Lee and Jack Kirby know better.
They are both Jewish.
So
and Sam Rosen, that's a Jewish name.
They're just using general word, okay?
Yeah, I'm not clear on Sam Rosen's background. All I know is that he created a bunch of titles and then had a nervous breakdown in the 70s.
All I can say is Rosen.
That's all I know about Sam.
Rosen is not an uncommon Jewish last name.
No, I don't think that's unreasonable speculation, frankly, especially considering how many of the early Marvel creators were Jewish.
So that means, and as a Jew, I can say, this is a slightly uncomfortable name, but
comic books are a Jewish art form.
I know, it's wild. You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you, John. So anyway, the Mangog holds Thor in one meaty claw, ranting about how Odin killed his people and now he's going to kill Thor. The Thunder God is struggling to react to this, but when there's a lull in Mangog's preaching, he finally gets a hand on Mjolnir, hanging at his belt, and launches a rebuttal.
I don't remember Mangog looking like this. This looks even worse than the last time I saw Mangog.
He's so ugly!
No, that's how he looked.
He had that weird tail and a red face?
Yes.
I remember him having a big old Jay Leno chin, but...
Nope, that's how he looked the whole time.
He's so ugly.
Thor strikes him a few times before getting thrown heavily into some rocks. Mangog declares that Thor will die there, and now he will move on to destroy Asgard. I think he's underestimating Thor quite a bit if he believes that throwing him at some rocks is the end of this whole kerfuffle, but I guess he's never met Thor before, so maybe he just doesn't know.
He's been under Odin's kidney stones for a while.
Meanwhile, the Warriors 3 are still trapped, and Fandral is still reaching his little sword arm out of that crack. See,
I thought they were freed. Oh my god. Fandral's just gonna stab him.
He calls out to Mangog, calling him a coward for only trapping rather than killing them. Mangog reacts with some confusion. Apparently he thought he had already killed them, and I guess they just escaped by the sheer coincidence of these rocks forming a pocket large enough for them not to be squished. I'm sensing a theme here of Mangog overestimating how effective rocks are as weapons.
Sensing a theme here of Mangog underestimating his opponents in general.
Yeah.
I mean, he was like, Ulik's gonna be my lackey, and then Ulik fucking made for the hills.
Yeah.
He's also so ugly!
He's very ugly, yes. With one flick of his tail, Mangog crushes the boulders and sends them flying every which way. The Warriors 3 stand their ground, with Fandral declaring that he will make Goggy pay for what he did to Thor. I couldn't say Goggy without saying it weird. I just got tired of typing Mangog over and over and over again.
Mangog.
I put a lot of effort into varying between names when I'm writing shit.
Fandral's blade flashes, but is turned away from Mangog's scaly hide, which seems to have some natural armored quality to it.
Because of course it does.
I love that when the Mangog stops Fandral, he just grabs the sword and picks him up, but Fandral keeps holding onto the sword anyway.
That's exactly what happens. Mangog grabs Fandral's sword and lifts it above his head, with Fandral still hanging onto it. Because Fandral loves his sword. He's like the dashing swordsman. He's like, "You're not taking this from me, it's my thing!"
Hogan, to my side! Fandral hath been undone!
Hogan rushes in, declaring that Mangog will never taste victory, so long as a single Asgardian lives. Loki. Loki is not looking good.
Posture, my dude.
Loki sits on the throne.
Loki's gay. That's fine.
Yes.
Yeah, Loki's allowed to sit badly.
That's a gay pose, yes. Look at the two legs.
I know. Loki sits on the throne with a horn of mead, enjoying all the perks of office that they are now afforded. Togue, the advisor from earlier...
No one can see me fucking mimicking Loki's pose, and it's a real tragedy.
You had to draw our attention to it for us to even see it.
I did indeed, but I did want to make sure it hit.
Okay. So Togue, the advisor from earlier, is like, hey...
Yeah, I didn't say that actually. Togue is, Odin's guy, but like, since Odin went to sleep, Togue was like, someone has to be in charge.
Yeah, Togue was the one who was like, Loki, you gotta do this.
Oh, I guess he'll accept it.
He was desperate, okay? So Togue is like, hey, everyone we've sent against the Mangog has failed, and our armies are basically fucked. Are you planning on doing anything about this? To which Loki says, nah, not until I know Thor is dead.
I mean, it's because I believe in Thor.
Right.
That's it.
No, he straight up says, not until he knows that Thor is dead.
Mm-hmm.
Which is how I have faith in him.
And
exactly. I believe in him so much that I don't think he'll die doing this at all. I believe in Thor, and Thor will prove us right.
Togue is like, yeah, I hear you, but by then it could be too late. And Loki is like, honestly, your vibes are feeling kind of toxic right now, and I'd love it if you never talked about this again.
It is meh. Whatever.
Togue correctly points out that Loki is more concerned with Thor's death than making sure the entire realm doesn't get destroyed, and Loki says it's not his business, before then explaining their evil plot. He says that once Thor is dead, they can find a way to make sure Odin doesn't wake up, and only when that's done will they summon Karnilla and through their combined magic get rid of the Mangog.
Oh, I thought it said, and then shall mangoes fall.
Yes, falling mangoes!
While I was typing this up, Google Drive kept correcting Mangog to Mango, so...
Oh no.
It's not far off.
Well, that's his name now.
It is.
His name is Mango.
Togue is like, cool, but I feel like you're making a lot of assumptions about how effective your magic will be. And Loki is like, Togue, baby, you're so stressed. Why don't you relax and let me explain? See, I've got these guys, really strong guys, all loyal to me, and they're gonna protect us, even if the Mangog does make it to the palace, which he won't. Cue the entry of the remainder of Loki's honor guard, bloody, beaten, and in tatters.
Oh, see, I was assuming they were gonna catch them sneaking out the door, like, oh, Loki, I was just going to the kitchen to get some more mead.
Nope.
With a fucking bindle over the shoulder.
No, it seems like wherever they were, which was apparently not here despite them being Loki's guards, the Mangog found and made short work of them.
They were hiding.
Yeah, the surviving men beg Loki for shelter and protection from the very thing they were meant to protect Loki from.
I like Togue's little fur tutu.
Yeah.
His outfit is a lot.
It's a lot.
Sitting here looking like a member of Devo with a fur tutu on.
Loki feels now that they may have miscalculated. Thor stirs among a pile of rubble. reflecting that a normal person would definitely be dead right now. But he's not normal, and he's not going to quit. He begins spinning his hammer, creating a whirlwind that develops into a whole-ass cyclone, shooting up from the ground behind Mangog.
It's so wild to me that Mangog's... I mean, like, I guess I shouldn't be surprised that Mangog has beef, but I just remember him showing up at some point with his son or something, like, hey, what's up with my kid?
What?
And Thor just being like, okay.
What? What the fuck are you talking about?
Something I read with Thor that I may be half misremembering.
I think...
Mangog has a son?
I don't think that's true.
Mangog and his...
This thing has had a child.
Is that a dream you had?
Someone...
Maybe?
Someone
Is there someone with a similar name to Mangog?
I don't know.
There's also a Magog.
Is
That's
it
true.
Magog? Does Magog have a son?
I don't know. I don't know shit about Magog.
Time for research!
I'm not kidding. When I was looking up Mangog, I also found Magog.
Magog Marvel. There is Magog Marvel.
It's a
DC
different guy.
Comics.
That's a different guy.
But there is a Magog Marvel.
Where's Magog Marvel? Okay, Magog Demon. Magog Demon. Gog and Magog. Okay. They fought the Hulk. Okay.
See?
It wasn't a Thor thing.
Pull up the page for Mangog so we can check his relations section.
Oh god, there's a
Yeah.
Mojoverse
'Cause,
page.
like,
That's horrible.
There's
No,
a possibility
Mangog.
that I'm wrong. And I
Do you have a child,
affiliations and relationships. Pull it up.
Mangog? Click it.
Pull it up. No.
No.
Oh, thank god.
No relatives. Let's check Magog. Let's check Magog. Okay.
Hmm.
I have no idea.
No
where I'm
idea what you're
remembering
talking about.
This fucking child monster.
What did you read? What did you read?
What do you have in your mouth? Spit it out.
So anyway, this tornado behind Mangog. The Mangog is toying with the Warriors 3 like a cat with a mouse, but at the approach of the cyclone, he drops them all to deal with Thor yet again. He stands his ground as the tornado engulfs him, completely unmoving and unflinching. When the winds cease and the dust settles, Mangog still stands, but Thor is on the ground. He's pretty worn out from all that hammer spinning, and yes, he is afraid. Although he does say, "Only a fool hath never known fear."
It's what you do.
But the gallant fight on, and so doth Thor.
Yeah, it's what you do after you're scared. What do you do with that fear?
Suddenly, a bolt of lightning cracks out of Mjolnir, hitting the Mangog straight in the face.
That's
and
what he
if
does.
Vince Coletta's inking is to be believed, decapitating him.
Thor
Because I have no doubt that Jack fucking drew this.
Thor shoots out more blasts of lightning, one after the other, as the Mangog slowly takes a step. Somehow, this culminates in the ground getting hot enough to explode like a volcano, which I'm not really sure how that happens.
Again, volcanologists out there, let us know if you hit ground hard enough, will you cause a volcano?
Well, if you hit it with lightning.
Yeah,
I
if you
think-
hit the ground with lightning, will you cause a volcano?
No, I think it's reasonable to say that hitting one spot with lightning over and over would heat the ground somewhat. But why would it explode? Maybe it just caught fire and Stan is being overly dramatic.
I've never known Stan to do something like that.
No.
Stan? Overly dramatic?
I know.
Nah.
Whatever the case, the Mangog is now at the center of this conflagration, and Thor takes the opportunity to beat a hasty retreat. He picks up Fandral, Hogan, and Volstagg on the way,
Really picks them
and
up.
they all leap off into the sky, with Thor holding Mjolnir and the rest of them holding onto each other's feet in a little daisy chain of boys.
This is some fucking cartoon shit.
It is.
What? Come on, guys. Come on. I realize this is supposed to be kid stuff, but wow.
It's amazing. I love it.
Excellent.
The ever-vigilant Heimdall stands at his post on the Bifrost, preparing to greet a strange visitor. The newcomer alights on the bridge, announcing himself as a friend from a faraway world,
Oh, I thought I know who this is.
before Heimdall can get too stabby.
It's yeah.
It's the Recorder, the same one that accompanied Thor into the Black Galaxy, in fact.
yeah.
He's here looking for Thor, and he doesn't say why, but we could probably guess.
What could it be? I mean, the Regalians did send him out to figure out, hey, what's up?
Yes. Well, he's the recorder, so could figure out the one thing that he does.
Yeah.
What? So he, makes ice cream.
Yeah.
He plays hot cross buns really good on the recorder.
He does. Heimdall says, that's good enough for me, and flags down a passing warrior, commanding him to lead the recorder to Thor. It seems that what Stan meant was indeed fire, and not actually a volcano, because the entire area is now ablaze.
Maybe it's ablaze because there's a volcano.
Thor and his bros stand above, surveying the flames. Volstagg, who is not genre savvy, says, well guys, he's definitely dead, so problem solved. Cheers all around.
Good job.
You always need to check the body, Volstagg. You gotta double check the body. You gotta have the body or else he's not dead.
Immediately after this, Mangog surges up from I really don't know what's going on here.
What?
He's waist deep in something molten. At first I thought maybe the lightning had turned the ground to glass, which would be extreme, but I could live with.
It's
But
white.
Fandral says it's white-hot magma, so I guess actually Stan was going for a volcano thing.
That's not how magma works.
I don't know what's happening, but Mangog throws some lava at them, and that's all you need to know. The Warriors 3 scatter to avoid the flames, while crying out with despair that Ragnarok is surely upon them. But Thor says thee nay!
He does.
You know, I guess I can get where we might be going with the white hot lava from, like, a very childish standpoint.
Yeah.
So I remember asking my parents, like, hey, why is the fire on the stove blue? And they're like, 'cause it's hotter. Mm-hmm. And then Stan being like, oh, blue flame, hotter than regular flame. It's blue. That's how we know it's really, really hot.
Yes.
Also, they have a lot of purple.
Thor, it looks nice.
Yes,
it does.
Thor spins his hammer while giving a rousing speech, shattering the ground where Mangog stands before summoning a torrential downpour that obscures his vision and causes a flash flood in a mere instant. The Mangog is swept away while continuing to rant about how he's going to destroy everything and he has the strength of billion beings, blah blah blah.
This is all because Odin killed a billion beings. That's what the fucking Mangog is powered by. Odin's slaughter of a billion motherfuckers.
Odin, why did you do that?
Because they tried to invade Asgard.
Yeah, but did you have
a billion of them? No, there were some other people
the entire
involved
race,
here.
yes.
You had to kill the entire race. Why? Why did you have to kill all of them?
So anyway...
A billion tyrants will not be denied. Speaking pretty highly of your people there, Mangog.
So, by this point, it kind of feels like Stan forgot about where Baldur was, but don't worry. Baldur is still in the Norn Forest fighting those dudes, because Karnilla can't take no for an answer.
Creepy Karnilla's harem.
How long has he been in there?
A few issues.
Oh boy.
She is still on her bullshit, trying to appeal to him, and he is still not hearing it.
Let Asgard fall. With me thou shalt find safety till the end of time.
Asgard is in danger, and now is so not the time. She says, Asgard schmasgard. If you stay here, you'll be safe and happy forever. As if that's something he would ever agree to.
Also, I don't think that's how that would work, considering that Mangog is enemy to all that lives.
Right.
What, Mangog's gonna stop?
Karnilla says that since he refused her, again, he will continue to be killed. So that was a cool diversion where absolutely nothing changed.
Right. Thor left Sif behind not because she's a lady, but to watch his dad.
Right.
Oh yeah, something useful, actually.
Somewhat. Sif stands ever vigilant at Odin's bedside. She's lost in her thoughts, worrying about everything, wishing that Odin would wake up, and doesn't notice the arrival of the recorder. I guess instead of taking him to Thor, that guy just brought him to the palace, which is not what Heimdall told him to do at all. The recorder seems to have some idea of who Sif is, and Sif herself has heard of the recorder from her beloved.
Yeah, I like that Thor talks about the recorder. That's such a... Like, they're just friends, and he just talks about his friends. That's really cute.
He told people about the recorder.
Since he's a friend of Thor, Sif bids the recorder welcome and speak. The recorder warns Sif that the Mangog is getting closer, and he also informs her that she's in the wrong place. Mangog isn't going for Odin after all, he's going for the Odin sword. Which makes sense, because killing Odin might be satisfying, but if he draws the Odin sword, he kills everyone.
I feel like I mentioned this last issue.
You did.
Also, Odin can get better if he dies.
You know, I have a really stupid thing. I don't know if this is even going to make it in the podcast episode, but every time I hear Thor, it's hard not to imagine Chris Hemsworth's voice because he's so good at it.
He is, though.
The Chris Hemsworth Thor voice is the perfect Thor voice.
It is.
I mean, I complain all the time about the Asgardians in the MCU having the wrong accent, but even with that, I think Chris Hemsworth's voice is
He's got
really
that
good.
fucking frat boy energy, but also a certain regality.
Yes, it's perfect.
And he's a good guy.
Sif sees the logic in this and marches off to the chamber of the Odin sword, prepared to defend the entire universe in Thor's absence.
You go, girl.
Because, I don't know if you guys realize this, but Ragnarok isn't just death for Asgard, it's death for everything.
Well, yeah, that Mangog is enemy to all who live.
Exactly.
Yes.
Odin's sword is just a natural choice.
Exactly. The Warriors 3 emerge from their shelter to find the storm has finally subsided. The area is now completely flooded, with raging waters lapping at all the low-lying ground.
I like the fact that we use the recorder to actually pass on things that we could not observe. Like, it's
Yeah.
observation, a hush falls over the embattled realm. The moment of destiny is almost upon us. And
So-
that's not something you could necessarily absorb just by reading.
I was actually going to mention that later, but when the recorder is there, it kind of feels like he's almost a proxy for Stan, and he's delivering the narration boxes.
It feels like when you're reading a script
Yeah.
and they give all this background information of what's going on stage or on screen.
Yeah, and I'm sure the Rigelians really appreciate those embellishments.
they love having the screen directions,
Right.
the set directions, read into the log for posterity.
As the Warriors 3 survey this situation, they realize that Thor has left alone to search for Mangog. And indeed, he does find him. Mangog is very much still kicking, despite all the forces of nature itself being brought to bear, and he's still hellbent on killing Thor and then making his way to Asgard. All of which he will do in the next issue.
This was a really well-paced issue. That felt like nothing.
They've gotten better at it.
It's not always this good. That was really tight.
I like the inking on this, though.
Yeah. Jack probably inked it too, I'm guessing. I don't know.
It does, it looks really good.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't think that was Vince Coletta.
Yeah. Are you saying Vince Coletta is not good?
No. It's just that there's better
Yes.
than Vince.
He had an important... he was important in the advancement of comics as an art, but he took a lot of shortcuts because of the amount of work they were pushing past him. He was a workhorse.
Mhm.
But he took shortcuts to be able to be a workhorse. Entire people and things that Jack drew into the background would just not get inked. He'd just ink it. He's got a very big, bold inking style, and he just will choose not to ink things sometimes. He's known as the man who ruined Jack Kirby's art, but it's still important to note that he had an important role in the furthering of comics as an art form.
He's known as the man who ruined Jack Kirby's art?
Yes.
Wow.
That's a nickname that I have heard put on him multiple times.
That's amazing.
The cover that we're talking about belongs to Thor number 157 from August of 1968, written by Stan Lee, penciled by Jack Kirby, inked by Vince Coletta, and lettered by Sam Rosen.
Ugh.
Ugh.
There's Vince.
Yep.
Mangog stands above Thor, tall and menacing, still dripping wet from the rain.
Okay, it's the rain. It's the rain. It's not just slime.
That's
No,
rain.
it's
yes,
water.
That's
That's
water.
a relief.
definitely rain. That's rainwater and nothing else.
No, it's fine. Thor opens strong by throwing Mjolnir at his face, but Mangog actually punches it so hard that it shoots back in the opposite direction, shattering rocks and causing the Warriors 3 to hit the decks, before finally returning to Thor's hand. However, as Thor turns back to face his foe, he finds that the Mangog has disappeared without a trace.
Why is Thor narrating that?
Because that's just how
That's how he is.
That's how the comic writing is at this point
Fair
in time.
enough.
But that's also how he is.
That's also how Thor is.
Fair enough.
Oh, Karnilla. Oh, well, baby.
So let's do another check-in with Balder. Yeah, shockingly, nothing has changed there. He is still fighting those guys because he rejected Karnilla.
They're called the Legion of the Lost, right?
Yes, they are.
If this was a video game, he's chosen the wrong answer.
Yeah.
Right, he hasn't found the solution to defeat the boss, so instead he's just stuck fighting a never-ending tide of mooks.
This is getting very old by now. But this time, finally, something changes. The Legion of the Lost, Karnilla's boy toys, cease their attacks. They turn to Karnilla in unison and declare no more.
Why? Why did they just change their mind? Because Balder is too good?
They say that somehow Balder's bravery freed them from Karnilla's spell.
Balder is so good.
He is the Disney prince. He freed them from their curse.
By fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting and fighting.
Shut up! Stop!
But that's how he did it.
Stop it so that I can keep going.
This is my favorite Balder achievement so far.
He fought so hard that he freed these guys, only for them to be, what, vaporized?
So, annoyed with this turn of events, as well as their self-righteous speeches, Karnilla zaps them all away back to Asgard itself. She laments that all her enchantment and guile couldn't win Balder to her side, but personally, I think she should have maybe dialed it back a little bit.
Oh,
Get to know the guy before you start demanding he date you under penalty of death.
You know what? Here's my approach if I'm Karnilla. Betray Loki. Be like, hey, Balder, you want to get dinner? Because we're cool.
Take him on a date first.
Right. I just, you don't like Loki? Well, I just stopped Loki.
Karnilla doesn't like Loki either.
Right.
She
it's
has
not
no
like you're
reason.
losing a whole lot here. But Loki was here because Loki annoyed Karnilla into that happening.
Okay, but it really looked like, for a second, that she just killed them because they decided not to work for her.
Begone, fop!
Yeah.
I mean, be gone. Be thou gone. I am done with thee forever.
Forever.
There's that in unison talking you wanted.
Oh, God.
Yeah, it just looked like she killed them.
Well, she didn't. The dudes appear in a puff of smoke back in the Golden City. Balder calls out to someone nearby for a status report and is troubled by what he hears.
Like that Balder's now got a posse.
He rallies the Legion of the Lost and they all prepare to go out to join the fight. Which is good, because Mangog is indeed approaching. I guess he got tired of fucking around with Thor and decided to get while the getting was good.
Got shit to do.
Asgard is dead ahead now, and soon he shall realize his most fervent desire. In order to avoid wasting time with whatever defenses the Asgardians have prepared, Mangog starts tunneling underneath, smashing and throwing aside the earth in huge chunks.
With,
Now,
with
I mean,
those hands, okay.
To be fair, even if you're beefing with Thor, again, see the Odin argument.
Right.
If you pull out the fucking Odin sword, Thor also dies.
Mm-hmm.
Well, Thor was always a diversion. He didn't really give much of a shit about Thor beyond getting through him to get to the Odin sword.
Exactly.
Thor and the Warriors 3 are hot on his heels, but Mangog is moving faster than they can on foot. Hogun bids Thor take to the skies to close the distance, to which Thor agrees, but says that he's leaving them behind in favor of speed.
Do you think Mangog's just eating the dirt like a worm?
You mean like dwarves and Artemis Fowl?
Yes! Yes, exactly like that!
Just eating it and pooping it out immediately.
Oh,
Yes.
no.
Yes, that's exactly what I had in mind, yes.
He's already gross enough as it is. I don't want to picture him eating the dirt and pooping it out.
That's what his tail is. It's actually, at the end of it, it's a butthole. And it just
Oh, God, why?
I hate the idea of butthole tail!
That's a poop tentacle.
How could you say that?
That's not a tail, that's a waist tentacle.
And then you pop a couple of bad guys into the Death Star and...
I mean, have you seen this man's hands? Those aren't hands, he has two tentacles attached to his freaking...
They're claws!
Those aren't claws.
Those aren't claws.
They're meaty
They're
claws.
fucked up hands, but they're not claws.
They're weird mini tentacles. They're not claws.
They're not tentacles either.
I don't think they're tentacles, I just think they're weird.
Pinchers.
No, I don't think they're pinchers either. I think they're just weird, fleshy.
They're very short tentacles.
They're not tentacles.
No.
Oh, but it's okay if he poops raw.
I think so. This one does not agree.
Anyway, the Warriors 3 vow to be close behind, and Hogan listens at the ground for some reason before Thor finally takes off.
Hogan, what do your elf ears hear?
Mangog bursts out of the ground within the walls of the city, ready to fuck shit up. He picks up the Column of Eternal Flame and starts bashing people with it.
Cultural appropriation much?
The Eternal Flame is a concept that we see repeated later, and we even saw it in Thor Ragnarok, used by both Hela and Surtur.
Okay, so that's a different thing than the Asgardian Olympic torch I was thinking of. Okay.
Yes, but this ridiculous pole thingy goes away later in favor of a more understated torch design. And yes, it does kind of look like a totem pole, but not really.
I think that they should have a big cauldron of fire because that would be awesome.
I guess they realized it looked a little too much like a totem pole.
Or maybe they just weren't going for that from the beginning and it just kind of happened that
A
way.
big ol' wok full of fire.
Could be useful.
Oh, it becomes more like a torch later.
Which makes sense.
I
Yeah.
still prefer the cauldron, but you know.
Things quickly start to catch fire, as if they spend their time rubbing lighter fluid on the walls.
You don't know.
Well, you know, there's been a lot of alcohol sloshed around these halls.
That's fair, that's
They
fair.
may very well have.
That's fair. A lot of mead on those walls.
I mean, it might even be fresh.
Mangog then starts smashing shit up, sending whole buildings toppling towards the city's remaining defenders. Just then, Baldur approaches, on a horse, at the head of a whole column of warriors.
Yeah, this is more than his posse. He's acquired a whole extra super posse.
Where
He
did
did.
find these people?
That's my question. I don't know where these guys came from, because we've established that most of Asgard's forces have already been defeated.
Yeah, Mangog has been chewing through even, like, the backup people.
And these are
for Loki.
so many guys.
It's so many guys, but, like, I guess you get everyone warrior or not when it's down to nothing.
Yeah.
Ah, yes, this is your billion.
Alright, you're the local baker? Well, get that fucking rolling pin and get ready to start fucking smacking.
And
If
also-
anyone could convince them, it would be Baldur.
Baldur just convinced those fucking guys to stop being under Karnilla's spell because he was just that good.
Mangog faces their charge head-on, batting them away like flies.
That's not claws!
Not.
Then, suddenly, Thor comes flying in and tackles Mangog from behind. They wrestle for a minute before Mangog throws him off and starts to step on him. Baldur jumps in to defend Thor. Also, this guy named Gunthar, who has all the balls.
Woohoo! Gunthar!
I gotta say, this huge army that Baldur brought doesn't seem like it's doing much. Like, it seemed like a lot of guys, right?
Well,
Yeah.
and
none
there's
of
only
the other guys were able to stop him. Why would Baldur and the local baker be?
Oh, I see. They just
there's-
came to watch.
There's only one Mangog, so what are the rest of the guys doing? It's
Watching.
not like they're fighting a whole army.
They're watching.
They're just waiting to step in as each guy falls.
Yeah, they're gonna fight all. They're all gonna fight him like 3-on-1.
Anyway,
Death by 1,000 cuts for the Mangog.
That sounds right. Anyway, Gunthar, who does indeed look like he was just like a local farmer, because he's wearing like rough furs, and his weapon is like a rock on a stick.
Gunthar, name and wardrobe feels like he should be in a metal band.
So, Gunthar jumps on Mangog's back and smacks him in the head, distracting him long enough for Baldur to drag Thor away.
Fuck him up, Gunthar!
Don't die.
Thor's arm is injured, and Baldur asked him to take a rest, but I don't think now is the best time for that, and
No.
neither does Thor. Thor asks Baldur to get him to a horse so he can keep fighting. I don't know how that helps his arm, but
Right.
whatever. Once mounted, Baldur tells Thor that he needs to get to the Odin sword, and Thor is like, yeah, okay. I feel like fighting the Mangog here or there is pretty much equal, personally, but what do I know?
I think you should fight the Mangog here so you have more time to think of a backup plan after your
agree.
ass gets killed.
I agree. At this time, the Asgardians wheel out something called a cosmic bolt, which is just some kind of weird cannon.
Yep.
It fires beams.
It does.
And it doesn't work.
They shoot it at the Mangog, which gives Thor the opportunity to speed away. In the throne room, our boy Tog is trying yet again to make Loki do something. Mangog is literally right outside, and all their weapons have failed. Tog is understandably a little bit pissy about this, since Loki was amply warned and chose to do nothing. Even now, Loki is more concerned with their own survival than anything else. Frantically, they suggest waking Odin, who will surely be able to help. Tog says no.
They run away like a little bitch.
And, I get why Tog does that. The Odin sleep is this sacred thing that restores his power and whatever. But I feel like given the circumstances, maybe we can make an exception.
Right, Loki does have a fucking point.
Yeah, come on, Odin, wake up. Everyone's gonna die.
And then Loki runs away like a little bitch.
Yes, Loki decides now that the only option left is to flee and let everyone else die. However, they run into Thor in the hallway, halting their mad dash to... I don't actually know where...
was he gonna go?
I don't know, because it seems like if they wanted to run away, they would just teleport or something.
And also, if...
where are you gonna go if the Mangog destroys everything?
Including you.
Well, that's what Thor says, actually. Thor calls them out as a coward, and they're like, I literally don't have the time for you right now, so get out of my way. Thor lets them pass with a warning that if Asgard falls due to their negligence, there's nowhere they can hide from Ragnarok.
Good point. Again.
Mm-hmm.
Though again, I'm back at the, if you fuck this up, I'm going to fucking beat your ass so bad.
Yeah. At last, Thor arrives at the chamber of the Odin sword, where Sif and the Recorder already stand vigil. Sif rushes to his side, supporting him as he favors his injured arm. The Recorder reports that the Mangog has penetrated the castle's outer defenses, and they all brace for the final confrontation just before Mangog Kool-Aid Mans through the wall.
Oh yeah!
Side by side, they face Mangog, who still has dudes clinging to him and swinging their swords in desperation.
Oh my god.
With one blow, he flings off not only his pursuers, but also Thor and Sif, sending them all flying. The Mangog advances on the Odin sword with no opposition as Thor drags himself back to his feet. He swings Mjolnir at Mango's head. My script says Mango. He swings Mjolnir at Mangog's head, but only gets swatted away like a gnat. Thor is kept at bay with a mere flick of Mangog's butthole tail as he grasps the hilt of the giant sword and begins to draw it from its sheath. The Recorder waxes poetic for a couple of panels about Thor's last-ditch effort, kind of embodying the voice of Stan, as I was saying.
Yeah.
Apparently, now, only now, Thor has decided to wake Odin up.
Good morning, Dad.
Only Thor and Odin together can defeat the Mangog, and in the interest of this, Thor creates a storm that can, safely awaken Odin from the Odin sleep. I wasn't aware this was a factor. Is the implication that something will happen to Odin if he's woken up early, like when you take a cake out of the oven before it's done? Will he just deflate into goo?
My souffle fell.
Or is it just because he's a dad and he'll be pissy if you wake him up?
It's that fucking board game, Don't Wake Daddy.
Exactly. Whatever the case, Odin is here now.
Good luck not waking Daddy with Mangog trying to Ragnarok, everyone.
He's still wrapped up in his Snuggie, but he has his Rod of Power and he's ready to fuck shit up. He hits Mangog with a ray of power that paralyzes him, then starts undoing whatever it is that empowers him, sucking the strength away in a flash of blinding brilliance. Okay, so, before you guys read ahead and start exclaiming things, apparently what happened is, Odin didn't actually kill all of Mangog's people. He imprisoned them within Mangog.
Okay, that makes sense with a billion people, but...
So when Mangog said he had the strength of a billion people, he was right in that all of those people were inside him, and apparently he forgot that during his imprisonment, I guess. But now Odin is ending this sentence and releasing the people inside Mangog, so his people will live again, and by doing so, he has defeated the Mangog and forestalled Ragnarok.
Odin?
Okay, I like that answer. I don't know if I believe that as a very 616 Odin answer, but I like it.
Oh, Odin, why did you do that?
We'll get to that in a bit. Odin commends Thor for fighting valiantly, but says that he shouldn't feel bad for losing, because he was never facing a living being to begin with. It was all just Odin's creation, the spell that he wove to imprison these people. He directs Thor's attention to a magic TV where they see a planet and the Mangog's people returning to it.
So they're not just gonna start shit again, huh?
Odin says that they've done their penance and will now live peacefully.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think that's up to them, pal.
Then we get a super close-up of Odin where he has red hair and eyes for some reason.
Okay,
And
I was very confused about that, and for a second I was like...
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there.
I was like, is Zeus here?
No. Odin pushes the sword back into its sheath as Thor runs to the side of his lady, taking her gently into his arms. Baldur is also there, none the worse for wear. As everyone recovers and realizes what has happened, they raise up and cheer, praising Odin for his power and wisdom and all that. Never mind that this was all Odin's fault in the first place.
Yeah.
Surely there were less dangerous ways to imprison these people. Surely if he wanted to combine them into one being, he could have chosen, like, I don't know, a
Somewhere
jellyfish.
Okay, or
kitten.
somewhere that's not fucking Asgard.
Well, why did he have to make a giant murder monster at all? Is my question.
This seems to be his solution for multiple things, so I don't even question that.
Oh, God. Yeah,
The Destroyer.
The Destroyer is the one that immediately popped to mind.
judgment is not the best.
He's just capricious.
He just did it because he was like, haha, wouldn't it be cool?
Yeah.
Oh, no. Now I'm picturing him doing everything stoned. I don't like that.
Dumb sparrow. I don't know enough Latin to know what the fuck that is.
I don't know. Anyway, that's the end of the Mangog story. What did you guys think of that?
Mixed feelings.
Just kind of ends.
Yeah, you didn't really see that ending coming, did you?
No.
While I breathe, I hope.
Why? Is this supposed to be an
Why is it the motto of South Carolina?
Why is this story ended with an inspirational Latin phrase?
Why did this story end any of the ways that it ended?
While he breathes, he hopes that the Mangog's people are actually gonna be peaceful and not be pissed.
Because he's responsible for it.
The Mangog doesn't exist anymore. Remember that for later, the next time he shows up.
I'll keep that in mind.
That's the worst way to put that.
Okay, how do I feel about the Mangog story? Well, I'm not counting the first two, I'm just counting the ones we have here.
Yes.
The first one, very well paced, very solid, easily a 4. The second one, this ending is fucking bullshit, and I really hate the cop-out of, okay, well, we couldn't wake Odin up any of these other times that we tried to wake Odin up, but now we can wake Odin up. I think that's a fucking cop-out, and that brings me down to a fucking 2.
We woke Odin up, and then he solved everything, and it was fine.
I think it's stupid that Loki was like, why don't we wake Odin up? And they were like, no, we can't. But then when Thor wants to do it, it's like, okay, fine.
Yeah, I also am really irritated by Loki's appearance in this last one, because Loki I was fine with throughout this whole endeavor, until this one, in which Loki all of a sudden no longer cares about what seemingly Loki was actually pretty sincere about earlier.
Mm-hmm.
I was just like, fuck this place, I'm out.
I mean, it does kind of seem like at the beginning, Loki was like on the same page as everyone else. Like,
right.
If I fuck this up,
like, yeah,
everyone will die.
I want to fuck up the Warriors 3, and I want to fuck up Thor, and don't get me wrong, I intend to do both of these things, but the most important thing is stopping this.
It seems a little bit incongruous that Loki, after that, then became, like, single-mindedly focused on Thor.
Okay, so something that has been bugging me about a lot of these early Thor issues.
Tell me.
They all tend to end with some kind of deus ex machina in the most literal way.
Yup.
That happens a lot. That's also just a trait of a lot of Silver Age comics.
It is.
Because they don't want to span things out over multiple issues.
Though
they do here.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the time when the issues wrap up within one story, it's like, okay, why?
Yeah, it happens a lot in Silver Age, but I also think it's a symptom of Odin existing.
Yeah. And because it's not just that these are deus ex machina endings, it's almost always Odin is literally the deus in the deus ex machina.
Right, because, like, in order to not have Odin immediately solve every problem, you either have to have him asleep, or have him fighting with Thor so he's not willing to help.
Or just distracted and not watching.
Yes.
He's one of these three things.
Because, like, if Odin is available and willing, then no problem is actually a problem.
It's simple. We kill the All-Father.
Yes.
I mean, they do at some point.
I knew that. I knew that full well when I said it, but...
And I fully support every time they do.
But yeah, this is just really starting to grind my gears about these Thor stories, these early Thor stories. They always end the same basic way.
We don't have too long before Jerry takes over the title, do we?
No, not very long.
Yeah,
Oh,
I didn't
God.
think so. I think some of this is just Stan has an older approach to writing.
I mean, yeah, he's been doing this for like 20 years by now.
He's been evolving as we go, actually, with this, still getting better and better, but there comes a point where...
There's still certain tropes that he can't
and like,
shake.
Stan has gotten good at the beginning and the middle, but
Yeah,
he can't stick the landing.
Cannot nail the ending.
No, it's like...
Especially not in something so grand as like
Yes.
Thor and fantasy.
And like, this
shit.
could have had a great ending.
He
But
can wrap up a Spider-Man issue pretty good, but that's much more grounded.
yeah,
Mm-hmm.
this could have had a great ending. But
I think Thor kind of gets away from him to the point where he's like, oh shit, I have to wrap this up.
I mean, he forgot about Balder.
I think that's probably part of why he loves...
I don't know if he actually forgot about Balder because, like, for a couple issues, we kept checking up on Balder, and then nothing changed with Balder, and then we would go to the next issue and check up on Balder, and nothing has changed.
Okay, actually,
Right,
no, it's
let's
worse.
not waste
He didn't
pages
forget
on...
about Balder.
Let's not waste pages on Balder doing nothing.
Right.
That sounds more like he was told to check up on Balder, and he didn't have anything for Balder to do yet.
Yeah.
Like, you gotta check up on Balder. I don't really want to do anything with him now.
He's the editor. Who's telling him to check up on Balder? This is his responsibility.
It's true.
Well, then he's telling himself to check
No,
on
you know
Balder
what?
as an editor.
Never edit your own work.
True.
Well,
That's a good point.
yeah.
But it's a very
If you
good
can
point.
avoid it.
If you can avoid
Yes.
editing your own work, that's a good idea. And him being the editor could be causing some of the weirdness to some of the storylines.
He gets so caught up in Stan, he forgets something.
That he's got a storyline going over there, and then when he realizes he doesn't know what he's going to
It's
do with it.
really weird, though, considering how well-paced that first issue
Yeah.
was versus this.
You know
And
what?
even this had decent pacing, but it just ended. It needed
God.
another issue
It just
at this pace.
maybe he doesn't know how these are going to end. Maybe he really is writing them as he goes. He's trying to figure out the ending long after he started the beginning.
You mean, like, I write scripts when I'm like, oh, I don't know what happens, and then a few pages later I explain in full, and it's like, wait, yeah.
I don't think that's always a bad way to do it, though, if you can't do it.
Yeah.
You know, there's nothing wrong with writing as you go.
You just gotta make sure you keep your plate spinning.
Right.
And he keeps on putting the plates down the exact same way.
Yes.
Every time.
Yep.
With the exact same result.
So what are your ratings on this?
The first one was
Yeah.
pretty good, and this has a horribly disappointing ending.
Kind of a wet fart.
Yeah, yeah. A wet fart out of 5 for the second one.
I'm at 4 out of 5 and 2 out of 5, respectively. What about you?
I don't know. I'm kind of in the middle on the whole thing. I'd say 3 out of 5 for all of it. Because, like, the whole thing with Thor fighting Mangog to me just kind of felt like spinning wheels.
Yeah.
Oh, sure, but it
I
was
didn't-
fun while it was going.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I definitely see that perspective, which is why I'm not saying it's bad. Maybe it's just for me because I've read it before.
I don't think it felt very consequential, the fight. It just kind of...
I will say that I did not remember this ending at all.
That,
I blocked it out of my memory.
I wonder why.
I remember, like, I always remembered the vague idea of what Mangog is. I remembered that the recorder was there.
Billion souls.
I remember that. I didn't remember how it ended. So when I got to this part and it was like, oh, Odin just makes the Mangog stop existing and sends all these people back to presumably where they came from.
And you know, oh God,
I was like, oh, that's...
that's even more convoluted. It turns out the Mangog is actually a living prison, and they've served their penance and they're free now.
Yeah, also, these people don't look like anything like Mangog looked.
No.
Oh my God.
They're kind of just like bald elves.
They are.
but they all look like they have a handlebar mustache, and as they should, they have the face for it.
So Odin literally did just create a giant murder monster for no reason.
Odin, what the hell? Why did
That's
you...
his go-to.
Okay, yes, it is. I will acknowledge this, but why?
So
he has 2 notes.
even after this, there's a lot of inconsistency with what Mangog is and where he comes from.
No wonder the wiki is unsure.
Yeah, it's inconsistent.
Especially when the Mangog comes back.
Yeah, when he's not supposed to. In the most recent story with Mangog, it was actually that the race that he came from was peaceful and Odin just destroyed them because he felt like it, basically.
I mean, that actually sounds very much like him, but still.
So he's actually trying to get, like, revenge, and he's justified in doing so.
Well, I think the destruction of a billion souls probably justifies some revenge, whether or not.
Well, yeah, because, like, not everyone who belonged to that race was a soldier.
Yeah.
And even the people who were soldiers weren't all officers who were calling the shots.
Right.
They don't all deserve whatever Odin did.
But we've encountered this before, the idea of Odin killing an entire group of people because...
Yeah, Odin genocided someone else, too.
Yeah.
There's a lot of the same story beats.
Yeah, but this still feels like a different story.
It does.
It does.
But the ending doesn't.
All right, let's wrap
That's
up.
all I got for you today.
Yep, so we just need to run through the usual housekeeping. Volcanologist, hit us up at comicsplaining@gmail.com. Let us know if lightning hitting the same spot repeatedly will cause a volcano, or if Stan just doesn't know what he's talking about. Other than that, we are on social media. We're on Tumblr, Twitter, and Facebook at Comicsplaining. If you'd like to watch a video version of the show, see what we're talking about when we're talking about how nice that cover is in comparison to some of Vince's choices.
Or how terrible the Mangog looks always.
Mangog with his poop tail.
Who designed Mangog? Because...
Jack.
Are you sure?
Yes.
Jack.
Okay.
Jack did all this shit.
He can make bad decisions too, I guess.
Jack is well capable of making bad decisions. But it's fine. For Mangog poop tail purposes, we have a YouTube channel where you can watch a version of the show with little clips of the podcast as we're talking about it, so you can refer to the video version. If you want to read the comics along with us and tell us your thoughts, hit us up over at comicsplaining@gmail.com, or you can join our Discord and let us know what you think. We leave a link to the show in every episode. If you'd like to support the show, we have a Patreon. Supporters get access to the show a day earlier, higher tiers, higher rewards. We also have a coffee if you just want to throw us a few bucks, but we're just glad that you're listening to the show to begin with. So, that all being said, we're going to be back at you next week with the X-Men, in which we have an adventure with our friends the Avengers.
Oh no, not them. Not those assholes.
And Magneto may or may not make a guest appearance.
Do you promise?
I promise that Magneto may or may not make a guest appearance.
That means yes.
Well, we look forward to talking to you then. Bye!
Bye.